Blog number 6. The black man's past is distracting us from our greatness. The reason why I titled this blog that was based on a documentary I saw last week on ESPN, 30 for 30, on the Fab Five. A great documentary. I suggest everyone watch it because it gave a great illustration and background on the Fab Five, a group of five college players that played for the Michigan basketball team, and their impact on college basketball, basketball in general, the American culture, and putting hip hop in the forefront of society. So thank you, ESPN, and thank you 4 of the Fab Five members for this documentary. This documentary also caused some heated discussions this past week concerning the different types of black men in America. Jalen Rose stated their view of Duke basketball players as Uncle Toms. And so with that, there has been commentary from Jalen defending his points of view. There's also been a letter from Grant Hill posted in the New York Times, as well as commentary from African American sports analysts. All are great and much needed discussion topics. So, my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, I believe that black men are the most talented people on earth overall. I just believe that. I think we have the most potential to excel intellectually, physically, and emotionally. The deal is, the problem is, we never reach our potential. And so I think one reason why that happens is that American culture, or culture in general, is perpetuating stereotypes that will prohibit us to do that. In layman's terms, the society is bringing us down, and it brings us down through what we see on TV, what we feel it's what we think, how we view other people, where that's not accurate at all. If we just get a chance to talk to them and know where they come from, so I want to correct this because in order for us to be the best America, we have to break down these walls of racism that exists in America, of socialism, of classism. We have to break all of these walls down. And the only way we can do that is through communication, having truth one-on-one. So I want to go back in my last 2 minutes of this blog. I want to give you all a couple of things of black culture in the past few hundreds of years, how people, blacks included, have classified black men to keep us separated and not coming together. It started hundreds of years ago when we were enslaved here in America. We had beef between house slaves and field slaves, or light-skinned and dark-skinned slaves. If you notice, both of those people have slaves in their names. So it was irrelevant. No one was free. No one had more privilege. It's just one wasn't in the sun, the other one was. We tend to forget that. We were bickering over place where we were both just not free at all. And so that spawned, that was 15 generations ago, that spawned this perpetuation of elitism in black culture. If you go into the late 19th century, when they wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, which was the story of a black man or black family who appeased to white culture, quote unquote. That's an interpretation. That generated another type of issues between black men. One, are you going to be real? Are you going to be that hustler person that's the white man does not like because of what you say, or are you going to be that black man who is a yes sir or yes ma'am to any white person that comes to your in contact with you? Again, there are pros and cons to both of those. But the overarching theme is that's another system that allowed us to fight amongst each other, which I think is stupid. The last one I would use is currently we deal with hip hop culture, not just hip hop in general, but once you specify in the types of rappers or the type of artists in the hip hop culture, you have the gangsters who condones misogyny, who also condones illegal actions, or you have the squares, the type of black men who are probably white collar workers who want to have a different lifestyle that's not conducive to the style that's portrayed in hip hop or that's portrayed in commercial hip hop. All three of these examples show one common denominator. It's us versus us. And in order to break that, we have to realize that none of us are in a position to have beef with each other. We have to come together and excel. And before we do that, we have to communicate with each other. So my plans of action: one, we need to listen and learn from each other's experiences. As you see, or if you saw Jalen Rose's piece, Jalen Rose learned a lot from his experiences and is now giving back to his community. He didn't live his life and say, no, this is where I come from, this is what I'm going to be. No, he grew up, he matured, and he's trying to reach back to his community to give. I respect that 1,000 times. At the same time, Grant Hill is doing what he knows best. I grew up very similar to Grant Hill. One, my father and my mom lived in a predominantly middle-class environment, went to an institution of higher learning similar to Duke. What I do know is my dad and my mom told me to be the best. They pushed me. And so with that push, with that support, as well as my life experiences, I'm able to be who I am today. I know people who grew up in my same background who is not doing anything for society, who's being lazy, and that's unacceptable. The last thing is we need to communicate, because without communication, we will not grow. And going back to the discussion piece, my last note is without discussion, there'll be no education or knowledge transfer. And without education, there'll be no change. So let's change the world. All right, peace.